Okay, here we go, part 5.
If you weren't working overtime, what time would you usually get home to the south side?
It would be around late 4 o'clock, almost maybe at the latest 4:45.
Okay. Did you have anything specific you like to do in the evening when you got home?
Yes, I did.
What's that?
I always like to go work out.
Why did you like to work out?
It relieved a lot of stress. You see a lot of stuff that you don't want to see on a daily basis, and that was my way of relieving that stress and trying to feel normal.
Okay, so the reason for this question, again, always reading why would you want to ask this, we're setting up a routine. Later, they're going to say that she didn't care about shooting this guy because she wanted to go work out the next day. So obviously it didn't upset her because she stayed in her normal routine. If you work out to relieve stress and to get rid of stress, which is very common, go to for a run, go work out, go do something. It helps get away from the BS of being a cop. So this could be articulated a little bit better, but it's a good setup because later the DA is going to be like, isn't it true you went to go work out? You just stuck with your normal routine because you didn't even care that you killed a guy who was eating ice cream. So that's where we're going here. It's a stressful job, and I need to relieve stress, and then we're going to get into I don't sleep real well, and that's why I'm tired, and I was tired when I got home that night because I worked overtime, and I've been working long hours, and because I was tired, and because I was stressed, and because I had all this training, we're setting up, everything is setting up on why she did what she did and why it was reasonable.
Is that what you did on a daily basis to work out?
Yes, sir, I did.
How about if you worked overtime, long hours?
I would still go work out.
That was your regular routine?
Yes.
Okay.
What would have been good here is if I didn't work out or I missed a workout, I would have a harder time sleeping. I wouldn't sleep as well, and I wouldn't be as alert the next day. So working out helped me deal with the stress and to sleep better. That would have been a good follow-up if she would have been selling her point or been a little bit more experienced witness to get that out.
Let me ask you this. When you would go to the southeast substation, what route would you take?
I would just go on Lamar Street, and I would turn left onto Corn Street until I got to Cesar Chavez, and that's whenever I would jump on the ramp to 175.
Did you take the same route to and from work every day?
Yes, sir, I did.
Where would you park in the south side flats?
I would park on the 3rd floor.
Were those floors clearly marked as the 3rd, 4th, 2nd floor?
No, sir.
Okay, so now we're getting, is it reasonable that you can get to the wrong floor? That's what we're trying to establish here. Not to mention that other witnesses are going to testify that 30% of the residents have went to the wrong floor. So that even makes it more reasonable that this is a honest, reasonable mistake. It's not because she was sleeping with a married guy and the guy was eating ice cream. That's not why this shooting happened.
Did you have a specific area you like to park in?
In the front area of the parking garage on the 3rd floor.
Okay. And when you park, how would you get to your apartment?
I would walk through, I think it's considered the south hallway of the apartment complex.
Are those the hallway we've seen on the photographs that have been entered into evidence?
Yes, sir.
When you would go down that first long hallway and take a left, how did you know when you were coming to your apartment?
When turning left, there's a guardrail, a wooden wrought iron guardrail, and it looks over the balcony of the courtyard.
Okay. And why is that a landmark?
That's where I know my door is.
Okay, so what we're setting up now is this was routine. I didn't look for the mat. I didn't see the mat, and I don't look for my numbers on the door. I use geographical, references that I know when I get to where that roof's at, that's my apartment. So that's why I went in this guy's apartment on the 4th floor, because I was on autopilot. I was tired. I was carrying stuff. I got to the roof. I turned to the right. I thought it was my apartment. I took my key out. I stuck it in the door, and the door opened. Everything that I was doing indicated I was at my apartment, which is why I was in fear of my life when I saw somebody inside. That's what we're trying to convey. Whether or not they do that very well, that's where it's going.
Is it near that balcony?
Yes, sir.
What side of the hallway is it on?
It's on the left-hand side.
As you're walking towards it, it is on the right-hand or left-hand side?
The balcony's on the left-hand.
Okay. And then your apartment is where?
On the right-hand side.
That's 1378.
Yes, sir.
I want to turn your attention to the week where Thursday, September 6, 2018. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's start at the first of the week. Did you work your extra job on that Sunday?
Yes, sir, I did.
That Monday was that a holiday, I believe.
Yes, sir.
What holiday was that?
I believe it was Labor Day.
Okay. Did you work that?
Yes, sir.
And we have the records and evidence. You worked all the way through Thursday, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You worked overtime on some of those days?
Yes, I did.
How much overtime do you recall?
By the end of Thursday, I believe I was at 44 hours.
Okay.
That was like a 1 hour a day overtime. Wow. It's pretty busy. I'm being facetious, people. That's nothing.
Something that would often happen when you worked in that division?
Yes, sir.
At some point during the week, had you made a request for some time off?
I did.
Tell the jury when you made that request.
I made it earlier in the week. I wanted to take off the Friday.
Okay. So that was your plan, to take off Friday?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's talk about...
Notice they have a picture of the victim the whole time that she testifies, so the jury has to see his face every day. This seems a little odd to me. I think this should only be allowed when the prosecution is doing his case or when he's talking about him. To put his picture right there for the jury to see every day, all day, to me seems a little inappropriate, biased, and probably a little prejudicial. But I don't get to judge it, I guess.
That day, September 6th of 2018, was anything going on in...
Notice how far the defense is from the jury, and the prosecution gets to sit right next to the jury. They won't let you see the jury, but the jury's over here to the left, closest to the witness stand and closest to the prosecutor.
In your apartments, or you've been alerted to something that might happen in the apartments that week?
Yes. The apartment complex sent out an email that they were doing a moisture inspection that whole week.
You notice how he's taking water? A good attorney would bring her some water because she's talking as much as he is. He gets to get drinks. She hasn't had anything to drink. But, I mean, that's just, sometimes you get attorneys who look after you and who think otherwise they're just not experienced and they don't do the thing. You know, they just don't think of that. I think of it because I know I'm going to stand. I get dry mouth, especially when you're nervous and you're fighting for your life and you're talking about having an affair and you're looking at maybe going to prison for 99 years. She's probably a little bit more stressed than the attorney, but he gets water. Rick, why are you picking on attorney? Because most of them are freaking idiots. All right, I digress.
And we wouldn't know when they would come. They would just come between the hours or 8 to 4 or 8 to 5.
Okay. During the day?
Yes, sir.
Did you, did that concern you about your little dog Ranger?
Yes, it did.
Okay. What were your concerns about that?
I didn't want the maintenance, or whenever the maintenance man, Ranger likes to roam around, and I didn't want him to open the door and let Ranger out.
Okay. So what did you do with Ranger?
I took him to my mom's.
Where does your mom live?
She lives in Arlington.
When did you take the Ranger to your mother's?
That previous Sunday.
Okay. So he wasn't there that week?
No, sir.
On that morning of September 6th, what time did you wake up?
At 5:30.
And let me ask you, you told us earlier you go to bed usually at what time?
Around midnight.
Okay. Do you always go to sleep right away?
No.
Do you have trouble doing that sometimes?
Yes, sir.
Every night or how long?
It varies. So it's not every night. It could be 2 or 3 nights a week.
Okay. How long does it take you to get to sleep sometimes?
A few hours.
Are you able to catch up on that sleep sometimes?
Yes, sir.
And when do you do that?
I usually do it on Saturday mornings.
On your day off?
Yes, sir.
Okay, as an attorney, sometimes you want to be careful when you're playing the victim card to the jury. You don't want to make it seem like, oh, this attorney's just trying to make poor little girl. She had to work overtime, and she didn't sleep good, and she had problems going to sleep. If you paint them too much as a victim, you could turn the jury off. So there's always that fine line you're juggling when you're picking juries, when you're talking to juries, when you're doing your case, that you don't want to turn a jury off. It's all about the juries. So I don't know if this is good. I mean, it's one thing, hey, she had problems sleeping, she didn't sleep well. Okay, we get it. But you don't want to harp too much that the job is so stressful, she's working so hard, she's got her dog somewhere else, she's this poor person who's trying to juggle all this and juggle an affair with a married man, and she ends up shooting a guy eating ice cream. I mean, you just got, again, the story, it's hard. So the jury should be able to compartmentalize, who cares if she had trouble sleeping, who cares if she had a dog, and who cares if the guy was eating ice cream. Did she enter the apartment with the intent to kill somebody, or is this a horrible accident and somebody ended up dead?
You got up at your regular time that day.
Yes, sir.
What time did you leave for work at the Southeast substation?
It was around 7:20 a.m.
Okay. When you left, did you tell the jury how you left your apartment?
I drove out the garage.
No, before that, your actual apartment, the apartment.
So there's a confusion here. He asked a question. This comes to witness preparation. She should know what he's asking and what he's going to, and what kind of, they should have had this. So when there's a confusion like this, sometimes it can give a little bit of credibility because the jury can go, wow, maybe he didn't set her up, and maybe these questions, she doesn't know what the questions are. Otherwise, it can look like some jurors may go, you know what, they're not very prepared. I mean, she should know what he wants when he asks how she left the apartment. Why is she explaining that? Is she crazy? Is she dumb? Again, you never know what one little answer or one little question can change or impact one or more of the juries.
I would leave and lock my door.
That was your normal routine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the purpose of this question is he wants her to know that I always lock my door. Why is that important? Because when I went on the day I shot the guy, I thought my door was locked. I know I locked it because it's always a routine. And when I stuck my key in, the door opened, so I thought it was my apartment, but it wasn't shut, and I know I locked it, so therefore I thought that somebody might have broken in or somebody could be in my apartment. And then when the door opened, I saw somebody and didn't show it. Again, it paints a picture of why what she did was reasonable.
Would you make sure the door was locked?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever have any trouble locking the door?
There were times when you do have trouble locking the door.
What type of trouble?
You would put the key in, and even though you would turn it, it wouldn't lock all the way. And you would have to pull the door and work with it to make it, the deadbolt go into the key.
And that's kind of normal for any building that's settling or movement. If a door's warped, sometimes you got to push or lean on the door to lock it. I'm not sure why that's important. Maybe that because she had to do that, that makes it more reasonable that she always made sure to check her door was locked, which is why when she found her door unlocked and ajar, even though it wasn't her apartment, she was concerned, and it would be reasonable for her to be concerned.
On that day when you left it, was it your normal routine to make sure that door was locked?
Yes, sir.
Or was it locked then?
Yes, sir.
Do you leave your lights on or off?
I turn them off.
How about your TV? Do you leave that on or off?
Off.
Why is that important? Because when the other place opened, there was a light on and the TV was on. Now, somebody's going to go, well, is it reasonable for somebody to walk in and rob you if they're going to turn on the TV? No, but You can't take isolated incidents. Totality of circumstances. When you're processing multitude of factors in split seconds, it's easy to go, well, if you know the TV was off, somebody watched TV, you should know you're not being robbed. No robber walks in and watches TV. That's taking one fact in an isolated incident out of the totality of circumstances, and the courts have ruled you can't do that, and it's a good ruling because it's not fair. It's not judging it on what was actually happening and going through at the time of the incident.
So you left around 7:30 and then went to work.
Yes, sir.
What did you do when you first got to work that day?
I got on the computer and did some research of what crime was going on and what we could start on something that day.
Okay. And as you progressed through the day, were you assigned with the other officers to go somewhere?
Yes, we were.
And what was that?
We were assigned to go help the SWAT team help locate these robbery suspects that we have been looking for.
Are those some suspects that you and others on the team had already been working on?
Yes, they were.
Okay. What new information did y'all get that caused y'all to have to meet with SWAT that day?
We got notification that they received a ping and located 3 of the suspects.
So then you weren't, she just testified she was going there to help locate them. That wasn't true. If they got a ping and they knew where they were going to set up surveillance or to make an entry. So that's a little thing. And again, this attorney, the longer he keeps her on a stand answering his questions with with his tempo and her calm behavior, the less the jury will remember when the DA starts badgering her. The person who gets more good time on a stand, it's better for the jury. So if the DA comes on and only gets 5 minutes of attacking her, and he got 20 minutes of reasonable questioning where she was reasonable, the jury will believe more of what they saw when she was reasonable, which is why the prosecution is going to drag this out and go over the same thing over and over to extend his time of showing her on the attack or on the defensive to compensate for what this attorney. A lot of games going on that people don't know when there's courtroom behavior like this going on.
Is that ping? Is that how?
Oh, crap. 17 minutes. Let me stop. We'll go to part 5.